going on, Demons? Nate here from Demon Performance. I want to address a couple of questions we've had lately about the AEM Uego wideband air-fuel ratio gauge, and how to hook it up and how to data log with it. As you can see behind me, this is Brady Torbett's 426 F1A blown Jeep. We just put her through her first heat cycle. We're going to break it in tomorrow and get everything pinned back up and hopefully get some numbers to you guys before too long. But I just recently installed the AEM Uego in this here vehicle, so I tell you what, I will go through the steps and what needs to be done in installation and how to set it up with your Trinity. This seems to be the largest area of concern when setting up the data logging capabilities with the AEM Uego or any other gauges for that matter. The biggest part is, what do I do with the Trinity? It's extremely simple. First thing we're going to do, we're going to go into the options and we're going to go all the way to the bottom and we're going to select analog input configuration. And first thing you're going to do is add a new parameter. It's going to ask you to name that parameter. I'm just going to name this guy AFR. Now I've got to select an input channel. Now I already know that my input channel is channel 1 or channel 2. You can either do this by trial and error on the Trinity, or you can meter out the cable before doing it. Channel 1 is going to be your top post, channel 2 is going to be the middle post, and then the base is going to be your common ground. So I already know it's channel 1, so I'm going to go ahead and select channel 1, and it's going to ask me to put in optional units. Automatically comes up with voltage because it's reading a 0 to 5 volt rating here. So what we're going to say is, we'll just call it ratio. Boom. Alright, now that we've figured that out, we have to set a lower bound. This is where everyone gets completely lost. Well, what voltage equals what? The Trinity knows you're getting a 0 to 5 volt reading from the Uego, so you don't have to do any kind of crazy math or anything. Your lower bound on AFR is going to be 10, and your upper bound for AFR is going to be 19.98. Now we've done this, we've got it set up here in the back end of the Trinity. What we need to do now is go into logging, create a new log, and you see I've already got one saved here with AFR in it. If you're data logging for your tuner, I suggest using the layout they've sent you, or use the 07 and up tuner. We go in here, and what we're going to do is hit edit, add a new gauge page, edit again, add a new gauge. Now you can add any kind of gauge you want. I prefer the small digital gauge because the information I'm going to use from this and the tuner's going to use from this is going to be in the data log anyway. Plus you've got a gauge here staring you in the face, so it really doesn't need to be that big. If you want it big and you want a big radial gauge on there, that's perfectly fine. I'm going to select the small digital gauge, and then it's going to ask me what's the gauge going to be. So we'll go down here, analog inputs at the very bottom, and we're going to go down here. Now you see I've got 2 saved in here because I've already made one. So we're going to select AFR. Alright, now that we've done that, this gauge is going to read from the sensor. We got one more thing to do to make sure we get proper readings up here on the gauge. You're going to tap the gauge and you're going to change display range. For your most accurate readings, you're going to do the same thing you did in the back end. 10.0 and 19.98. And it's going to give you the most accurate readings. So now that we've done this, we want to hit X. save the current layout. You hit yes, resave it as whatever you want to. What I usually do is put an underscore and then AFR at the end, so I know which one has my AFR gauge in it. I'm not going to save this because I've already got a layout saved with the current parameters already saved, but hopefully now we've cleared the air a little bit and everyone's got a pretty good idea of how to do this. So whenever you go to pull a log with that layout, you will also have AFR.